Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Rachel Kathryn Kauffman, all the way from Lexington, joining us here tonight.
My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we discover what and who we are in this journey called life. So in Monday night shows, we usually go over a lot of self-help topics. We have been going over, how to recognize a psychic attack and what to do for psychic defense. Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. Let me scoot the screen a little bit closer so that it doesn't look like I'm always looking at the other screen. So I'm checking 3 screens right now, Instagram and 2 Facebook pages. For those of you that are joining on my professional page, Kathryn Kauffman Psychic Medium, I did leave a link for you there so that if you want to join the live chat, just hit that link and come on over to the personal page, because the personal page is the only page that I'm actually seeing the chat and I can engage and answer questions. So let's do some quick shout outs here. A special shout out to Melissa Begley and her sidekick, Miss Cleo. Big kisses to you guys. Tony and Carol Ann, thanks for joining us. And Joy over here on Instagram, thanks for joining us here. Couple of quick updates. And if you're just joining and you didn't see last week's show, I am going to New Orleans in the next couple of months, and I am taking suggestions from the audience on places you would like to see me go and do a walkthrough. And I did do some research, and the Lalaurie Mansion is not open for tours, so that's a no-go. However, I could go outside of it and see what I sense there. Hey to Barbara Bacon and Crystal Crazy, thanks for joining us tonight. So tonight's topic is protective magnetism, and it is it's an offshoot or a type of psychic protection that we're going to specifically talk about tonight. We really couldn't just kind of skim over it in last week's episode because it's kind of complicated, and so I figured it needed its own show for tonight. Another update on the tree portal class. My foot is finally healed from all the biopsies, and so I'm going to try to get out really quick in the next week and do all the video and the pictures needed for that webinar class before I have to have more surgery on my foot. So hey to Paige Denise, George McKinney, Carrie, thanks for joining us this evening. And hey, over here on Instagram to Food Travel and Enjoy. Now, Food Travel and Enjoy, I'm going to do a little shout out to you. You need to check out Fiorin Woods, Feeorin Woods, Woods, and also The Untourist on Instagram for food stuff, because my husband and I have some food blogs and food stuff on there. So I would like to follow you and like to see what you think of our food stuff. That would be fun. Special shout out to Ricky Elkins. Thanks for being here, guy. Hope you're doing okay. And to Brandon Bowling. So, have you guys ever heard about protective magnetism before? If so, give a shout out in the comments there on the personal page so that I can see if anybody is familiar with it. it was quite new to me, especially, I would say I only learned about it 15 years ago. And so I'm glad to see that it's getting more and more written about it. But let's discuss a little bit about magnetism first so that we kind of know what we're dealing with. Magnetism is a force of attraction or repulsion that acts at a distance, and it's due to a magnetic field, which is caused by moving electrically charged particles. Now, when we talk about moving electrically charged particles, you can equate that to the iron in your blood and your cells. These are magnetically charged particles. So you consist of an electromagnetic field. And, when we go and we do ghost investigations, we're using an electromagnetic field detector, even though, as a spirit, there's no iron left because that disintegrates with the body. The electromagnetic field still is intact, which I find really interesting. So we consist of an electromagnetic field, and these are fields that are constantly in flux, and they are spinning, changing particles. So I want you to think of that's kind of what we're dealing with. Now, in a body, you're able to produce a higher electromagnetic field, unless you're a really experienced spirit that knows very well how to manipulate the electromagnetic environment. And we have seen that on several occasions. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen that a spirit will emanate a larger force than a living body. Special shout out to Evard Thompson and my son, Michael Lawrence, out in Paducah. Thanks for being here, Guy. So I want you to think about how people emanate this electromagnetic field. Specifically, people who are very charismatic, you can almost feel their energy when you walk into the room. It's a very projective force. And keep that in mind, because that's kind of how we fashion the magnetic armor that we use against psychic attack. Okay. So there are a lot of people who emanate a very forceful magnetic field. Take Tony Robbins, for example. He is an extremely charismatic, forceful attraction when he goes out and gives a speech, an inspirational speech to people. Lots of people flock to those. They need it, and they go for that magnetic inspiration that they obtain from these type of events. And if you've ever watched one of these events, the first thing that they do is get the crowd really pumped up with a lot of positive energy. And then they kind of keep that at a high level throughout the seminar. And people go away from these events feeling very high on energy. Hey to Monica Overstreet, and Melissa says magnetic manipulation. Yes, that's kind of what the goal is here tonight, is to manipulate your own emanating magnetic fields in a way that does not connect with or repels negative forces. Hey to Charles Centers, and a special shout out to Steve Murray. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I do appreciate you being here. Hey to Tom Driver and Mitch Colley. So charisma, that is one thing that really reaches out to people. And what does it do? Is it's a force of magnetism that goes forward and connects with the people that are receiving or open to that energy. Special shout out to Rolando Berger. Kisses, Guy. Hope you're doing okay. And Valerie McSparron. So what we want to do is to create sort of a magnetic force field around us for the psychic protection. This is our protective armor that we're going to use. And what we're going to do is to sort of create that magnetic repulsion. And you've seen that with, as a kid, magnets, when you try to put them together and the poles are the same, they will repel each other and they will not go together. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Okay. A couple of examples I wanted to bring up, and these were so interesting when I did the research on it. And these were examples of how magnetic fields affect you even though you can't perceive it. They did an experiment with snails, and they found that the snails were influenced by the Earth's magnetic polarity. Now, so what the experimenters did is they planted magnets in the ground where these snails were and pointed them away from the North Pole. And what they found was that the snails changed their normal patterns and derivated to the alteration of the magnets that were placed in the ground. So, you know, animals and we are very, very sensitive to magnetic fields. Another experiment was shown that mollusks open and close in rhythm with the movements of the moon. Okay, we already know that the moon phases and the moon changes really affect our moods, our cognitive thought, and it also affects these mollusks. So if you all didn't know, and I do every single day a daily astrological moon psychic influence forecast on my Facebook pages. So if you're not a fan, go ahead and either send me a fan request or hit that follow and see first, and you can get those daily astrological forecasts for free. And I only do that on my Instagram page, my 2 Facebook pages, and that's the only place I do that besides Twitter. So tonight is a new moon in Gemini, and what that means, guys, is that this is the perfect night for starting over again, new influences, new diets, new exercise routines, new ways of thinking, putting old stuff to rest and starting over. So tonight is the night to do that. Hey to Carrie Gill, Philip Travis, and Charlotte Northcutt. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to put those in the comment section. I promise you I will get to them. If not tonight, I will get to them tomorrow morning. A special shout out to Angie Simpson. I hope you're doing okay, girl. Okay, so we know all living things have a magnetic field. And what we want to think about here is that we want to be in alignment with divine energy and divine love, okay? We don't want to respond to a psychic attack with hate, because hate and hate connect. And that is the very worst thing that you can do, because you do not want to, under any circumstances, create a connection with the attacker, the person who's doing the psychic attack. Under no circumstances do you want to form any kind of attachment or connection there. So we must do some kind of alignment with divine energy, because divine energy and divine love does not connect with psychic attack and hate. So Charlotte has a question. As dead as the moon is, it still pulls the tide somewhere inside. It must still be alive. Yes, the energies are still there, Charlotte, and the magnetism is still there from the moon. Hey, to shout out to Larry Williamson. I hope you're doing okay, fella, and a big hug and lots of love to you. So your magnetism can affect people positively or negatively, and that is one of the biggest choices that you have to make in your life, is what kind of impact are you going to make on other people? Is it going to be a positive impact and a positive connection, or is it going to be a negative one? So magnetic self-protection can be accomplished by refusing to respond on a negative level. For example, you do not want to respond with fear, hatred, or anger, and you really have to surround yourself with a very strong positive magnetism, so that what that does is it creates a repulsion energy towards this psychic attack. If you have any emotional openings there, and you really have to kind of evaluate what type of emotions that you're having, because your emotions can create like subconscious connections that you're not totally aware of. So what you want to do is project divine energy outwards, a very forceful magnetism outwards against the attack. But here's the catch: it cannot be personal. It has to be a projection of impersonal energy, because once you make it personal, you're forming a connection with the psychic attacker, and you cannot do that. So the desire to help this person or to project the divine energy to them has to be truly impersonal, okay? One of the ways that you can do this, and this was very, very interesting, is to project. You can project a white light to encase them, but then that may backfire on you, because if you encase the energy, that can just have some bad repercussions. Here's another way that I did study about, now if their influence is really strong and your desire to help is really strong, you may accidentally form that empathic emotional connection. So one of the ways they were talking about doing this on the internet was to take your thumb and place white light in the sign of a cross over here, over the head. Now, literally you can't do that, but like, let's say you can excuse yourself to the bathroom and mentally do that. Now, the reason why we use the thumb is because it's related to the willpower and the projective force outward. It reminds me kind of an exorcism, if you've ever watched some of those old shows. Now, I want to get back to this. If the influence is strong and you try to encase them in the white light, how does that backfire on you? There was a reason about that. I may have to come back to that, because I remember there was a reason why that it somehow creates a connection to the attacker, and I'm not sure exactly how, but I'll get back to it. So back to this, I kind of like the thumb technique a little bit better, and you can simply do that by excusing yourself and mentally going through that exercise. So really evaluate any kind of emotions that you may be having, and really it's best to remove yourself from the situation so that you don't have an emotional reaction and form a connection there. So if you have to be in the same room with the person, you can excuse yourself for just a couple of minutes to get yourself together, wipe away any kind of emotional reaction, and then do the mental cross with the thumb and the white light. Now, other colors that you can use white, silver, gold, and especially blue. I did read about all of those different colors can be used, not just white. However, I like the white one the best. Now, through their own negative thoughts, through these person's own negative thoughts, sometimes it can rebound on you and on them too. It's like okay, this is what it was about putting them in the white bubble. If you encase them in the white bubble, then their own negative thoughts bounce off of that and come back on them. That's how it works. And you may be not intending to harm them, but you could actually harm them through that. So I really like the white cross instead. If you follow a different religious path, think of some other positive, influential symbol that you can use for that. Shout out to Taya Moore and Robert Ziegler. I'm checking for questions here. And Melissa says, 3 people I disconnected from all have charismatic personalities. So, Melissa, really evaluate why those connections were formed in the first place and see where you can stop or block that from happening in the future. Hey to Charlotte Northcutt. Okay, no other questions, so let's continue on. Any emotional connections that you have accidentally made, you need to do a cord cutting with that. If anybody wants the cord cutting PDF, just put it in the comments. I'll be glad to send that to you for free while we're online. So strengthening your magnetic armor is especially important if you feel like you're emotionally weak. So what you want to do is harmonize your emotions through deep, deep meditation and produce a state of magnetic repulsion. So you're pushing your energy outwards towards them, but you're aligning with divine energy, and that's going to create the repulsion. So how to strengthen your positive magnetism? Every molecule in your body has iron and it is highly magnetized. So you emanate your own magnetic field. We've gone over that. What you want to do is surround yourself with people who are, you're wanting positive, divine energy, and you need to surround yourself with people that resonate in the same fashion. And the reason for this is you want to synchronize with that energy, you want to entrain with that energy, and it is just a lot easier if you can saturate yourself with that type of energy. Your body and your mind and your spirit is going to naturally synchronize to that, and it's just not so much work and not such an effort to try to align with that if you surround yourself with these type of people. So that's synchronization and entrainment. Okay, now we can magnify this. We can magnify the magnetism, which is kind of funny. So everything that you do produces energy. When you move, you're producing kinetic energy. When you think, you're producing thought energy. When I speak to you, you're hearing a resonant energy. So anything that you can do to magnify this divine positive energy, you're going to talk about it. You're going to put that energy out through voice. You're going to do motions in meditation, moving meditation even, to accentuate or exacerbate the energy of positive divine energy that you're going to create. That's going to amplify and make that projection of your positive magnetism a lot stronger, won't it? Right? So Ina says, Melissa, your statement just produced an aha moment for me. Awesome! I love statements that do that. 2 people who have been unkind to me have had magnetic personalities, and I've been working on cutting cords to them. So Ina, if you want that free PDF on cord cutting, just let me know. Shout out to Mike Benzan, hey guy, and Pat Miley, and Robert Norris over here on Instagram. Thanks for joining. So what we're trying to do is to amplify everything into a really positive, strong magnetic aura around your body to prevent not only negative people's thoughts from affecting you, but also negative or harmful circumstances for happening, and even, you know, I dare say disease coming to you, any kind of influence like that. Anything that comes your way that's in most human contexts would appear negative, you will find it either minimized or becoming turned into a good account. So magnify the amount of energy that you have using thought, using voice, and using movement. Okay, that really goes a long way. Now, these are techniques that I found on a certain site. I have not used these, but I did find them and they seemed helpful. So I'm presenting them to you. And the site was, let me find it here. Oh, I can't see the site right now, but if you guys want it, I will send you the site. I had saved the link for you, and I will send it to you if you want it. It was an Indian Hindu technique, and I think the name of the site was Anna, but I'm not really sure, because I used only pieces, and so I only printed out pieces of this for you guys. But here's some of the techniques, and that you might find them helpful. Send the heart's energy upward to the point between the eyebrows and feel yourself surrounded and embraced by divine light. And again, we talked about the divine light before. They mentioned white, silver, gold, and especially blue. They used a lot of blue in here. Now, in the privacy of your meditation, you're going to place your arms down at your sides, and then while chanting Om, bring them up straight out to the side with your palms up until you join the palms high above the head, and mentally create an aura of upward moving light around your body. Now, this kind of aligns with things that I've done in the past of just aligning with divine energy and divine light. And you can simply send your mental energy up. You don't have to physically do that, but some people benefit from the physical movement only because it increases the concentrated thought. But if you're a very experienced meditator, the energy goes immediately up anyway as you direct it. So you want an upward movement only, I feel, directed up, because you want to connect with the divine energy and divine light, and not the negative and lower energies. You don't want to connect at all with those. Now, there were a lot of other arm movements involved with this, and like I said, I didn't connect with those, so I'm not going to present them here. But if you want to know those, I will grab that link and I can send it to you if you like. Hugs to Georgia Smith Urban, Melissa Wilson, and Jennifer Kavanaugh Wilson. Thanks for joining us. And also, and I have found this technique good, and I was doing this intuitively, not realizing, but try not to look in the eye of the person or shake hands with those people who their vibrations are extremely negative, or you know that they're psychically attacking you. Now, sometimes we have to engage with them and we can't afford to do that. If you do have to, definitely mentally either put a glove mentally on your hand or create some kind of mental block before you have to engage with them. Now, in the psychic courses that I do teach, it's what I call the garage door. A lot of us were taught, like 30 years ago, the golden bubble thing. That was always really hard for me to do, the protective golden bubble, because, you know, I'm a very logical, tactile person, and who has experience with the golden bubble? None of us physically do, maybe mentally, but it's hard to get there. It's hard to train yourself to get there if you're very left brain. So what I always teach people to do is call the garage door. And we all have seen a garage door, felt a garage door, pulled one down, pulled it up, heard it, know everything about it. So it's very easy to mentally go there and make that connection of blocking, pulling the garage door down over the chakras so that you don't connect. And then when you want to open back up, it's very easy to connect the sounds and the feeling of opening the garage door back up. So that's one of the easiest blocks for people to do who are very left brain. And that works really well with a lot of men because men are more left brain. And so the golden bubble doesn't always connect with them. So they have trouble with that. So Ina says, I'm a very visual person and I love the garage door idea. It works because we all have had some kind of experience with a garage door. Even if you have an automatic one, you know open and closing, you know the side of it, you know the sound of it, and it's very reproducible. You can go there very easily. So, but if you can, try not to look at the person in the eye or shake their hand if you can get out of it. Another thing to do that was really good on this site that I liked is when you have to go into a disharmonious environment, make sure that you have a spiritual bodyguard with you. This is somebody who's on the same spiritual path or wavelength. And what they do is they're amplifying or kind of bolstering your magnetism. Now, this can be a living person or it can be a spirit guide. Either one, it doesn't matter, just so long as you have a little help there. And don't be afraid to ask for help, but be willing to receive help and also to help that person when it's your time to go ahead and help. So that is, in a nutshell, protective magnetism. I hope that you can practice it and use it, and I hope that these techniques help you. I know that they've helped me in the past, not per se the golden bubble or the white bubble, but definitely this white cross with the thumb is a really helpful one, and blocking before you come into contact with the person who you suspect is psychic attacking you. Like I said, even, you know, mentally picturing a glove on your hand before you have to shake hands or touch them or whatever, using that garage door to block before you have to be in contact with them. Next Monday night, I will not be on the show because I will be out of town. So I will post a show schedule of upcoming stuff. And don't forget, if there's a place really special that you want me to go to in New Orleans, go ahead and post that or send me a private message, and I will be glad to investigate that and consider it. Until next time we meet, you guys have a fabulous week. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy new moon. Make a good, fresh start on something and take advantage of this new moon energy in Gemini. Kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you guys next time. I'll post the schedule. Bye.